Victoria worked as a cleaner in the biggest mansion in Beverly Hills. She dusted the chandeliers, polished the marble floors, and stayed invisible. One day, her boss, Richard Blackwood, handed her a golden envelope. Charity Gala, maximum elegance. He smirked. His rich friends laughed. They wanted her to show up, dressed poorly so they could humiliate her. But Victoria only smiled. They didn't know who she really was, or the secret she had carried for 20 years. A storm was coming, and she was ready to dance right through it. Richard made a cruel bet with his wife, Helena. $100,000 says she won't dare show up, and if she does, she'll be the night's entertainment. Guests laughed. Reporters were invited. It was meant to be a show of power. But Richard forgot one truth. People are not always who they seem. Victoria stared at the invitation that night. She thought of her late mother, her past, and the lies buried in this very house. She decided she wouldn't run. Not this time. If they wanted a show, she would give them one they'd never forget. Hidden in the attic of her small apartment was a box she had never opened in years. Inside was her mother's gown, silk, shining, stitched with care. It once belonged to the Blackwood family before they ruined her mother's life. Victoria slipped it on. The dress fit like destiny. She looked in the mirror and whispered, "Tonight, you'll see me." She added a necklace passed down from generations, a jewel that carried more than beauty. It carried proof of who she truly was. With one deep breath, she was no longer the maid. She was someone far greater. Cameras flashed outside the mansion. Guests stepped out of limousines, dripping in diamonds. Then a hush spread through the crowd. A woman in silver silk, tall and calm, stepped out of a modest car. Reporters gasped. "Who is she?" one whispered. No one recognized the cleaning lady. Victoria walked with quiet fire, every step breaking the trap they set for her. Richard's smile froze. Helena's wine glass nearly slipped. The plan to humiliate her had just turned upside down, and the night had only begun. Inside the ballroom, chandeliers sparkled above polished marble floors. Musicians played softly. Victoria glided past whispers and stares. Some guests admired her, others sneered. Richard leaned to Helena. "She's bold, but wait, she'll slip." Helena narrowed her eyes. Something about Victoria seemed familiar. "Who gave her that dress?" she muttered. Meanwhile, Victoria spotted a family crest on the wall, her family's crest. Her pulse raced. Proof of everything she lost was here. Tonight wasn't just about humiliation. Tonight was about truth. The orchestra struck a waltz. Richard approached Victoria, smirking. "Care for a dance, Maid?" She placed her hand in his and met his eyes without fear. The crowd circled, waiting for her to stumble, but her steps were flawless, graceful, even royal. Gasps rippled through the room. Helena's face turned pale. "Where did she learn that?" a guest whispered. Victoria's answer was silent but clear. She didn't belong to the servants. She belonged to history, and tonight she was reclaiming it step by step. After the dance, Richard tightened his grip on her arm. "Who sent you this dress?" His voice dripped with suspicion. Victoria smiled. "It was in the house before you ever owned it." His eyes narrowed. Helena's lips parted in shock. "Impossible," she whispered. But Victoria only raised her chin. She wasn't here to argue. She was here to reveal what had been buried, and soon everyone would know the truth about the Blackwoods and about her. Richard raised a glass. "To wealth, power, and the family name," he declared. Laughter and clinking glasses filled the hall. Victoria lifted her glass too. "To truth," she said clearly. Her voice cut through the room. Guests turned, curious. Richard chuckled darkly. "Truth? In this house? Careful, dear, some truths are dangerous." Victoria locked eyes with him. Yes, dangerous for liars. A wave of murmurs spread. The stage was set. The trap no longer belonged to Richard. It belonged to her. Helena cornered Victoria near the staircase. "Who are you really?" she hissed. Victoria's calm gaze unsettled her. "Someone you tried to erase." Helena froze. Memories flashed. An old scandal, a silenced woman, a secret inheritance. Her breath caught. "It can't be," she whispered. But Victoria leaned closer. "Oh, but it is." Helena's face turned white. She hurried back to Richard, panic in her eyes. For the first time in years, the Blackwoods were afraid. A reporter snapped a photo of Victoria standing under the family crest. The picture looked royal, powerful. "Miss, what's your name?" he asked. Victoria smiled softly. "Victoria Blackwood." The room fell silent. Glasses slipped. Music stopped. Richard's face twisted. "Lies!" he shouted. But deep down, he knew. The name hit like a thunderclap. Everyone stared. The maid had just claimed her throne. From her purse, Victoria pulled a small envelope. Inside was a letter, signed decades ago by Richard's own father. A will, a confession, a stolen fortune. She placed it on the grand piano for all to see. "This house," she said calmly, "was never yours. It was my mother's, and you destroyed her to take it." Gasps filled the air. Reporters rushed closer. Richard's empire, built on lies, began to crack before everyone's eyes. Richard lunged for the letter, but a guest intercepted him. "Is this true?" voices demanded. Helena tried to calm the crowd, but panic showed in her eyes. Victoria didn't move. She stood tall, her mother's jewel glowing under the lights. "You thought I was invisible," she said, her voice steady. "But tonight the world sees me." The Blackwoods were crumbling, and the audience loved every second. Helena turned on Richard. "You promised me everything was hidden!" she cried. Richard snapped back. "You were part of it!" Their perfect marriage shattered in front of hundreds. Guests whispered, reporters scribbled, cameras flashed. Victoria only watched. She didn't need revenge. They were destroying themselves. She had already won. Richard tried to storm out, but reporters blocked him. Cameras flashed, questions fired. "Did you steal the estate? Did you forge the will?" His face turned red. Helena slipped away, leaving him to drown in the chaos. Victoria walked calmly to the balcony, breathing in the cool night air. The stars above felt like a crown. She had broken the chains. Richard tried to storm out, but reporters blocked him. Cameras flashed, questions fired. "Did you steal the estate? Did you forge the will?" His face turned red. Helena slipped away, leaving him to drown in the chaos. Victoria walked calmly to the balcony, breathing in the cool night air. The stars above felt like a crown. She had broken the chains. The music had stopped. The crowd was split between shock and awe. Victoria stood on the balcony, looking down at the city lights. For the first time in years, she felt peace. The whispers of her mother's voice seemed to echo. "You've done it, my child." Tears touched her eyes, but she didn't let them fall. She wasn't weak. She was reborn. Richard stumbled toward her. His pride was gone, his face desperate. "Please, don't take it all. I'll give you anything." Victoria turned to him, her eyes sharp. "You already took everything that mattered, and yet here I stand." He had no answer. His empire had fallen, and the maid he mocked now stood taller than he ever could. Reporters swarmed, asking for statements. Victoria raised her voice. "This isn't just my story. It's a warning. Don't underestimate the invisible. Don't trample the kind. One day the world will see them rise." The room erupted in applause, not for money, not for power, but for truth. Victoria's crown was not gold. It was her courage. As dawn touched the sky, Victoria left the mansion for the last time. She didn't need its walls or treasures. Her name was enough. Neighbors who once ignored her now bowed in respect. She walked home, the silk gown brushing the streets like a trail of victory. The Maid had become a legend. Years later, people still told the story of the Gala night. The night a cleaning lady walked into a trap and turned it into her stage. Children grew up hearing the tale of Victoria Blackwood, the woman who proved that truth always rises. And, in the grand halls of Beverly Hills, her name was carved in stone. She was no longer invisible. She was unforgettable. Please like and subscribe for more interesting stories.